there, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So if you could just introduce yourself for us, please. Could you give us your name, your title, a short bio about yourself, your credentials, and then state the title of the article you'll be talking about today?
Yeah, of course. My name is Daphne Scott Henderson. I've been a registered nurse for 16 years. Wow, long time now. I'm also a doctoral candidate. I just defended my dissertation about a month ago. My clinical background is critical care, but I've been in nursing informatics for about the last 10 years. And the title of my article is LGBTQ plus Healthcare, a Refresher.
Fantastic. So could you briefly give us an overview of why nurses should read this article that you wrote?
Yeah, well, number one, March is LGBTQ plus healthcare month, so it's perfect timing. But I really think that this article is good for both newer nurses and seasoned nurses because it really gives a good foundational overview of terminology that nurses want to be aware of, especially when caring for LGBTQ plus patients, and the importance of using preferred name and preferred pronouns and things like that. So I feel like this article is a really good overview of all of that foundational knowledge that nurses need.
Amazing. And I know when authors usually write articles about topics, they clearly have a reason or something happened that, gave them the creative instinct to write these types of articles. So is there anything specific that made you want to write an article on this topic? And if so, what would that be?
Yeah, well, in addition to being a member of the LGBTQ plus community myself, this article actually started out as a presentation. So I still give this presentation to nurses, nursing students, nursing faculty, and I even have a version for social workers and medical students. And every time I give the presentation, which is called What You Need to Know to Care for LGBTQ plus Patients, I get a lot of great feedback and people ask a lot of questions, and someone always tells me that they learned something they didn't know before. So just hearing all of that feedback, I was like, maybe this information is not as widely disseminated as I assumed. So let me turn this presentation into an article.
Well, that's great. And obviously there's a lot of information that's in this article. There's a lot of things that I know that you would want nurses to take away from it. But there's usually about 2 to 3 things that you really want them to stick. And if you could narrow it down to 2 to 3 things specifically that you would want nurses to very much remember about this article and then take away from it, what would those 2 to 3 things be?
Yeah, well, the first thing would definitely be the terminology, right? Familiarizing themselves with the up-to-date, correct terminology to use when caring for LGBTQ plus patients. So that is key. And then also just being aware, well, in addition to the terminology, also the importance of using preferred name and preferred pronouns for LGBTQ plus patients and all patients really. And in addition to that, the second thing would be that sexuality and gender identity are core parts of us as humans, right? So it's really a big part of nursing care and healthcare in general to be aware of patients' sexuality and gender identity, just as you want to be aware of their height and weight. And the last thing I would say is that this knowledge is ongoing and ever evolving. So making a commitment to just stay up to date on terminology, correct things to say, the correct thing, the things not to say, and just be open to asking questions because patients are always willing to educate.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and giving us a brief background on your article. We really appreciate you writing for American Nurse and sitting down and taking the time out of your day to give a little bit more background information about your article.
Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.